wrote this baby to a domain controller. So we're in Server Manager. You'll see that there's actually two machines there's actually three machines in this domain. There's a domain controller called LAN-DC1, and there's a member server called LAN-SVR3. As you can see here, go into the domain controller. Go ahead and log in as soon as it comes up. Server Manager fires up. Click on Tools, wait for the dashboard to initialize. Alright, go into ADUC. It's just a simple setup. Data.com is the domain. You can see under computers, there's a few of them here. I'm going to be working with Nameserver 3, and you can see the current domain controller is LAN-DC1. That's what we're on right now. I'm going to switch over to Nameserver 3. Going to go ahead and promote it to a DC, add install DNS. So just go under Manage, add roles and services, and I'm just going to do this through the GUI. We can do it. I'll do another video with it using PowerShell later on. Either way, it's really relatively easy to do. And notice that no DC promo exists, just an FYI. If I go into PowerShell, type in DC promo, look at the message you get. It's going to say blah blah blah, no DC promo. Alright, it's no longer here. Windows 2012. Awesome, ain't it? So let's minimize that. And oh, FYI, here's an IP config /all just to see what's up. This actually has two network cards to handle that. I'm just going to get away from the one card. I'm just going to have one card in it. I mean, I don't want to be a multi-home domain controller. This is actually a machine for a lab, for for technical courseware lab. So just going to go ahead and disable the one. Which one do I want to disable? This is 172.168.150, and this is 172.0.6.0.3. They're both on the same subnet, so it's not something I like. I mean, we could team them, but I'm not going to team them right now. So we'll pick one, and let's see what DC1 is. Just real quick. $16.0.10. I want to keep it on that same subnet, so you know what? We'll just use the 150. It's fine either way. So actually, we'll use the .23. So we'll disable LAN, the local area connection 2. I'm going to go ahead and change this to I want to change this to 11. Alright, you'll notice it's pointing to the current DC. Force registration, go to DC1 just to make sure that we're good to go. That updated. And haven't changed it already. That's pretty awesome. And you'll see here that there's an extra card or IP here that was from that dual homing, so I'm just going to delete that out of there. And DC1 is multi-home too. Okay, let's just go into settings and single home this baby too. This is the one I want to keep. Restart the logon service. Way it registers its SRVs. Go into DNS. Refresh button, and you can see the other guy's gone. This is what we want to see right here. If I go under here, GC, you'll see there's just the one IP there, and so we're good to go. Alright, let's go back to this baby here. Alright, these are some things I'm going to make sure that it's set properly before a promotion. So let's go into Server Manager. We're going to start over just for laughs and giggles. Role based. We're going to be selecting Nameserver 3. I can make it a DC. Add these features. Now, when you go through PowerShell, these features don't come up automatically. You have to actually add them through an additional PowerShell switches for adding Windows components. So I'm going to add features. I'll also make this a DNS server. Alright, looks like everything else is go. I don't need anything else here. And group policy management, yeah, that's nice. I don't need anything else for this purpose, for what we're doing here. Next, next. Install. And close. Now what happens here, I could actually see up here what's going on with the notification flag. Alright, it's not responding. It's doing a number of things right now. Let's let it gyrate a bit. As you can see, I'm pushing it faster than it can respond to me, so we'll give it a moment, let it catch up. Let's close it. Go back into Server Manager again. Alright, there's a notification flag. That's what I was looking for. And you can see it's alright, it's waiting for me now to promote this. So it already did the initial task, so I'll just click on promote this DC to or this machine to a domain controller. Just hit next. It's added domain controller to an existing domain. It's the datum.com domain. It already has that right here. And I'm going to use the current account that's already logged in. Next, I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be a GC and it's going to be DNS. I already selected DNS. Wait for it just to catch up. Oh, the DSRM passwords. Just make it the same password as the account for this purpose. Next. I'm just going to say next on that. It's not not going to be installed for media. I could say I could choose a DC if I needed to replicate changes once the machine has been promoted. I'm just going to say any DC for this purpose here. I'm just going to buy the defaults here for the domain or for the database info and sysvol as well. And this just gives me a summary page right here. I'll click on next. Oh, I could actually show you the script. I'll just back up there a second just to show you the script there that it creates. And this is literally the same thing. You could actually copy that script and run it if you wanted to. I'll just say previous and look at the script here. And this is basically what it's doing. I mean, you could use this, like I said, if you wanted to. But if you notice, though, it does not give you the management tools. That's a separate script itself, or you can actually incorporate it in here. But anyway, that would be for another time. And the management tools I'm talking about are like ADUC, AD Sites and Services, Active Directory Domains and Trusts, as well as Group Policy Management Console. So they're all separate components you can add separately. You can do that beforehand or after. What the GUI does for you is it installs all that stuff first, then it says, okay, you want to promote this to a DC. That's what we're doing right now. So I'm going to say next, gives you a summary page. And we just saw the summary a moment ago. You'll see it again. It just gives you a warning about Windows Server 2012 domain controller default for the security setting named allow cryptography. This prevents any older machines, etc. I'm just going to go with the warnings here. Just click on install. And it just shows me the progress going on here. So that's the machine name, London. lon-sbr3-datum.com. And you can see all the stuff's out going on. It's replicating, doing a number of things. Look at the progress there. Okay, so right now it's actually going through the installation. So if you close this wizard, the installation will continue. I can close, and you can actually watch the progress right here. Okay, there you go. So I'll just say close. And it's restarting. Still waiting for the baby to come up. There we go. Let's log in. waiting for Server Manager to initialize. Alright, let's take a look at tools. That's completed. Okay, cool. Let's see. ADUC. See now it's a DC. If you go look at DNS, you can see DNS is installed now, as well as all the other tools that were that I selected. They're in the process. And looking here, you'll see the two LDAP IP address records. That's what these are called. Actually, for each DC registers one. If you see anything else in here for save as parent, folder, host A records, then that are not DCs, then that could cause a major problem. If you look at because GPO, to get GPO list function that runs on the client side, DFS, DC to DC communications besides the DC GUIDs are used, as well as the LDAP IP address to communicate with each other. You'll notice that there's an NS record for both of them right now because each NS, our Nameserver record is the record for each DC. That's the DNS server in the domain or in the zones replication scope. So this replication scope is forest wide. There's other child domains or trees. Those DCs would be in here if it's in the forest wide replication scope. Let's take a look at the MSDCS. You'll notice that there's a DC GUID that's registered for each one. And you'll notice that also name servers. And keep in mind that if you are using any kind of imaging, like a template in a virtualized environment, that you don't want to, you want to make sure that they're sysprepped. If you don't, if you use a template to create a non-sysprep template to create the first DC in a domain, then you go ahead and use that same template to create other DCs, exchange servers, SQL, etc. Just keep in mind that the domain GUID is actually domain SID is actually created from that first DC that was installed. So if you have an exchange server and you got two DCs and such, and they're all made from the same template, I mean, you could try to play around with it to try to fix it by making unique SIDs for the DCs, but the problem is the domain SID is still based on the first DC that was created. So now the domain SID is going to be duplicate to the exchange server SID, so that now you're going to have a problem there. So then you have to literally create another exchange server, move the mailboxes over, or yank the mailboxes to rebuild the, do a backup, yank the mailboxes, as a backup, and then rebuild the machine, and then restore the databases, and then run the exchange recovery mode setup to set that backup. So it's kind of annoying if you think about it, but it is what it is, and that's why we always suggest that if you can't do a fresh install, to actually sysprep. Anyway, let's take a look here. You can see that under sites, there's only one site here, TTP. You can see the Kerberos and LDAP services, and that's both for Kerberos 88 and 389. Under GC, of course, you'll see the info for 3268, which is the GC's LDAP port. Anyway, that's good to go. So if I go ahead and create a user account here, I'm just going to create a user account called, I'm just going to create a new OU called Demo OU, and in here I'm just going to create a new user account called ACE. Okay, and it's just going to be APK, and data.com. Next. Password. Let's get the same password. Use it for the lab. No. Finish. So now if I go to LAN DC1, minimize this, go to ADUC, hit this baby, and hit the refresh button. Oh, I forgot to check something. Let's go back here. Let's go back to Nameserver 3. I want to show you the IP config. After the demotion here, you'll see that it's using the IP6 loopback here. That's what that call 1 is. Let's change that to point to change adapter settings. Let's go in here and tell it to do that, number 1. And now we'll get rid of that call 1, and we'll just leave that as is. And you can see now how it changed it to that. I'm going to go ahead, since I changed that, and do this. And this is always good practice. To register into DNS, then restart the logon service. And there's that demo OU. That's on server 3. Let's get back to here. Back to here. Let's see if those errors are up. This baby should have come right up. Server name. Oh, looks like the errors are gone. Let's go. Oops, there we are. Let's take a look what these are here. These don't really have anything to do with AD, but that's fine. Worry too much about them. Let's go to AD Sites and Services. Now keep in mind there is a time period where all data, domain data is going to be replicated over, so probably seeing a lag with that too. You can see the 2 servers are showing up here. I'm also going to go to Nameserver 3 and just to make sure that you can see that it's a global catalog. That's fine. And you saw in DNS that was already registered as such. The KCC automatically created a partnership between the two, so I'm going to go ahead and do a pull. Well, anytime you do a replicate now here, it's always a pull request. Everything's pull requests in the AD. It's just about anything that deals with replicates. They're always pull requests. So it looks like the KCC hasn't created a partnership to SVR3. That's why we're not seeing that demo OU come across. So I'm just going to click on check replication topology. That kicks the KCC into place. Just got to give it time. I mean, this is not rocket scientist here. So I'm going to pause the window here until that. All right, after about 5 minutes, you can see that the KCC automatically generated that. You know, I didn't do it manually because otherwise it wouldn't say automatically generated. All right, so anyway, let's go back to a ADUC here. I'm on LAN server 1. Let's go to LAN server. Let's go to LAN DC1. Do a refresh, and voila, there we are. So now we know we have AD working. I didn't change the IP addresses to, like in this one, I would have probably changed the IP, DNS IPs to point to the partner, which is LAN server 3, and it's as the first entry, and the itself as the second entry, or the loopback, because that's actually the accepted method right now. I mean, this has been discussed and argued for years, since the inception of AD. Even it was some contention among Microsoft engineers of agreeing how to set it, but finally, after the last couple of years, and even Ned Pyle wrote up a nice blog on this, that pretty much that we want to set it to a partner first and itself is second. As a matter of fact, the Active Directory BPA looks for that. It looks for at least a loopback in the DNS list on the network card, and but it also, if there's more than one DC, it looks for the first entry to be something else and the loopback to be second or itself. But it looks for the loopback, but we could always change it itself and ignore that error in the BPA. But that's not stopping you to do whatever you want, but that's up to you. All right, so now we're done with this. I'm going to go ahead and demote this baby. All right, so I'm going to say manage. Remove roles and features. Remember, there's no more DC promo. Hit next. Next. Remove this bad boy. It's going to remove the management tools. I mean, I could uncheck that and say cancel and leave the tools if I want to, but I'm going to say go ahead and remove the tools. And validation problems, found problems on the server you want to remove. All right. Okay. Tells you that, that's fine. And just click on demote. That's what we want to do. Okay. Now it's going to go through the process here. I'm not going to force a removal. There's no need to. We only do that in case of that there's a problem. All right. The main controller currently hosts the DNS server service and global catalog. These roles hosted by the main controller are required for AD functionality. Proceed. Some AD operations may be impacted. Proceed with removal. I'm going to put the local password in here. That's the same as the password we've been using for the lab machines. All right, let's rock and roll. You see it's doing a number of things. Okay, there we go. It's going to restart. That was quick. That was easy. Is that the Staples commercial? Or the Staples button? I'm sorry. that's coming up. Let's go to DC1. There we go. And you can see, I mean, all this stuff is still going to be here. If we go into the main controllers, you see it's gone. You see? When you demote it, it automatically whacks it out of there. Also keep in mind that the all force demotion or force removal DC promo option, see that's changed under 2012. If I wanted to remove an account or a domain controller that's having a problem, I can't remove it through the DC promo problem or DC promo or I'm sorry, through the removal wizard like I just showed you. You could have selected force remove it. That would have removed it. Say if you have an orphan DC that still shows up here, you could just right click on it and choose delete. Once you whack it like that, it actually, what it does now, it does everything for you. It removes it out of sites and services, removes it everywhere. So you don't have to run a metadata cleanup process. I mean, maybe if at a time you might have to check that. That's fine. Go on ahead and check it. Let's take a look at sites and services that I just mentioned that. As soon as it comes up. There we go. Sites, default first site name, and okay, it's still showing up here. It hasn't removed itself, but you can see there's no NTDS settings, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. Alright, so it's officially gone. Now if I go into DNS, let's check at datum.com. I'm going to hit the refresh button. You'll notice that the LdapIP address was removed for the server I just demoted. That's fine. That's what I want to see, as well as the NS record, because that DC, I mean, it's no longer DC, and DNS, the zones are AD integrated. So once I remove the DC role, even if I have kept DNS on that server I demoted, it no longer hosts a zone, so it's no longer a name server in there. All right, stop that phone ringing. Okay, so that removes that. So if I go over here, you can see that the DC GUID's gone, and the GC record has also been yanked. And also the NS record too has been yanked for Nameserver 3. So it's a pretty straightforward setup. I mean, procedure. I don't see why anybody would have any problems with it. Of course, there's mitigating circumstances. If you have larger infrastructure, you got replication problems. There's multiple sites. You have to look at your site settings. If you have multiple sites that are not meshed, but you didn't properly create separate sites to each, or IP links to each site as a hub and spoke, and disable the bridge all site links, that could cause a problem too, because in case you see, I mean, if you don't uncheck that bridge all site links, that can cause a problem too. You can actually see that under here. This baby right here. If bridge all site links is enabled, and you don't have a meshed infrastructure, say you have 6 sites, like maybe New York, it's your central site, your home office. You got Miami, Chicago, San Fran. But San Fran and Chicago can't talk to each other, or can Chicago, Miami, or anybody else talk to each other other than everybody talking to be able to talk to New York. Then you have a problem if this is checked, because the KCC will automatically assume Miami DCs can talk to San Fran, etc. So you have to uncheck that and manually create links, like say from, well, I only have one site here, but you would create a link from, like, say, New York to Miami, then create another one from New York to San Fran, then create another one from, etc. But anyway, that's I was just explaining there, if you do have replication problems and such, that could cause issues with demotion or and the rest of the infrastructure seeing the motion. If it works on one site, etc. I mean, the implications can be pretty extensive depending on the problem. But if there's any problems, anyway, this is a simple promote and demote. All right, hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you. And I'm sorry, this is Ace VK, a MVP and directory services. And that's a Microsoft MVP. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer. And yep, I teach this stuff. All right, thanks a lot. Have a great day.